In this video, we're going to look at some of my winter plant failures and lessons I've learned in my feeble attempt at trying to overwinter a few of these plants in the garden.
Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave.
Hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. I'm Bowtie Dave, hence the name tag, and we are going to be taking a look at the front side gardens for February of 2025. The sun is starting to get bright out here, having to squint a little bit more, but we're going to make it through this wonderful garden tour with a few lessons learned. And I'm anxious to kind of show you a few of the failures and discuss what I'm planning to do in the future. I've done a lot of research, but folks, you heard me say it before. You watched many of my videos. I am a bit of a slow walk. It takes me a while for things to get in my brain to figure out how to take care of things, and this was no exception. This was just right along with my personality, and I hope you feel encouraged if maybe it is along with your personality too, the slowness by which we learn some of these lessons. Our weather, folks, it is February 8th. Yes, February 8th, and we're in Destin, Florida, and our 30-day outlook has us at mostly 70-degree weather, like 22 degrees Celsius, low 70s, most of the next 30 days. And we're very excited about that because we had a snow, and that snow kind of changed our existence for a few days. Fortunately, it was all gone in just a few days as well because the sun came right out and it started melting everything. But we had some suffering in the garden and I didn't do very well. So ever since then, though, we jumped right back up to the 70s within about 4 days, maybe 5 days. And we have been in the 70s since, around 22 degrees Celsius. And it has been glorious out here. We're like in early spring. It's an early spring for us, and I don't think it's going to change because by the time this breaks at the beginning of first week or two of March, we're well past our average last frost. In fact, I've never seen an average last frost but once this late in the year, and we're on the 8th of February. One time I think we had one on the 13th or 15th, somewhere in there of February. If you look it up, Destin, Florida is supposed to have something like the end of February is their average last frost. I've never seen it that late. So those numbers obviously are calculated based on more data than I've seen in my now 8 winters here. We're going to take a look like we always do at the front and side garden. Now folks, this is my own journal, but you are so invited to follow along and see what's going on in the garden. And I do this every single month, a very incremental month by month study of what's going into the garden. We are almost in our 4th year. We've almost completed 3 years. I really can't believe that. In the garden, and we'll be starting our 4th year here in the next couple months, and looking at the development. Now I said it's a personal journal. I do use these. I look at these videos a lot. I go back, I'll be standing in the store wondering, should I buy that seed or should I buy something like this or whatever I'm looking at. I go back, pull up my phone, pull up those videos, and everything's indexed, so I know exactly where in the video to go. And so you can go back yourself, and you can see in the description, I always have these indexes. In fact, you may see links to other videos, other channels, be able to get to the things that you might want to see if you're ever interested. So I do that for me. You are welcome to join right along and use it too. The topic of today's video is going to be the aftermath of the snow that we had. And folks, it was a snow. 5.5 inches is what I measured on our property. The official is not quite 3 inches. It varies from place to place. The official word for Destin comes from about 2 or 3 miles that way, so it varies, as it always does. I did measure that 5.25 inches, you can see here in our garden on top of a wall, so it wasn't a drift, it wasn't anything like that. It was strictly snow that had fallen and created an accumulation. We're going to look at some of these things about my failures because, folks, I failed, man, and I've done this before different ways, and I want to cover a couple of those different things that I failed with I've done research. I know the research. The stupid thing about ADHD, you know this stuff, but it's just so hard to get the brain to pull it out when you need it. And we'll talk about a couple of things that I'm planning on doing to fix those problems next year or next time. We don't even get a freeze every year, folks. Some winters we don't even get a freeze. And so the next time this happens, I will hopefully be better prepared, because I'm going to take a few more measures, try to get to a point where I can do better. That's what it's all about, folks. We mess up. Don't be hard on yourself. Mess up, learn from the mistake, look at it as a learning opportunity and an improving opportunity, because next time you're going to know better. And next time, whether I forget all this again or not, I'll do better. Promise you. All that being said, we are going to start where we always start. And looking at the front yard over here is the southeast corner of the property. You can see, of course, the property here is 100 foot wide, 106 foot deep. That puts us right at a quarter acre. And so we have a regular urban homestead, and we try to grow a lot of food. We don't grow all our food, but we enjoy the stuff that we grow. It's wonderful, it tastes good. I encourage you, if you've never grown food yourself and you heard people say, hey, you grow that tomato, you grow that okra, you grow that whatever you're growing in those hot peppers, those green peppers, whatever you're growing, and it always tastes better. And it really does, people. One thing to keep in mind is that as you're going through the grocery store, those things in the grocery store haven't been grown for taste. They have been grown for storage and appearance. They may not be grown for taste. So a lot of the stuff we have, yeah, it tastes good. Tastes good enough. When you grow your own stuff for taste and taste only, you experience a whole different level of deliciousness in the garden. And so anyway, we'll have the map here on the corner of the screen that will show you where on the property we are as we're going around here and getting a look at the post-winter garden. So we are out here looking at, of course, the remnant of my wood chip pile that is still decaying. A lot of this, like all the stuff that was covering the sidewalk, ended up underneath that tarp up there and is seasoning and is weathering, and it's looking good under there. We opened this up last month. You can see here it looks beautiful. The soil is looking fluffy under there. There is not a lot of development of new weeds under here, so this is going to be a real easy place that we're going to be planting our okra this year. And our okra grows big. It grows somewhere between 8 and 12 feet, and it should be no different this year. But it's going to be planted in the front, probably 2/3 of this covered area. I might be doing something different back there in the back, and we're working on plans for that right now. You'll see there are a lot of weeds. If I didn't have this tarp, look across the back there, you see all the weeds that are there, thick, and up there to the left. The whole bed would look like that if I hadn't covered it like this. I did dig a lot of strawberries out. Some of you may, if you watch my stuff, you know we had strawberries in this bed, in this very sunny bed for 3 years, and they weren't great. Pomegranate tree, of course, is primed to have some of these suckers trimmed off. We'll be coming in here, trimming suckers off, and okay, so someone finally got the orange flag in the last month of videos. And yes, that is the turmeric that we're planting. It is an experiment. You'll see orange flags all over the place. I put these turmeric roots in the ground in a whole bunch of places. You'll see it through all 3 parts of these video tours that I do. And we'll just have to see if they grow. I put them in before the coldest of the winter. Did I put it in before the snow? I don't remember. I think I put it in right after the snow. Ground is still too cold for them to really do much, but I'm wondering if they're gonna work. Now, coming up soon, the rosemary right here, we are going to be trimming these and propagating out a whole bunch of new rosemary plants. And I love having the rosemary in here. It keeps pests away, mosquitoes and stuff like that. It also attracts other things, and so we always have this rosemary everywhere in the garden. All this is just going to be weeds to clear, and of course our fig tree. Now this brown turkey fig, yes, I confess, another failure. I have not taken it out of that pot, but you'll notice that soil is almost the exact same level of the ground. Gonna get that here pretty soon. These little nodes are still looking good. The fig trees, folks, are very hardy. They are looking a little purple, so I really need to get some attention on this and get this thing planted. Look for a video, maybe a short, coming out on that soon. Speaking of shorts, have you seen those shorts on Where Am I? We have a video coming up soon. It is a tour. If you watch my videos, you know that I love garden tours. I just absolutely love them. The inspiration they give year-round just brings me new ideas all the time. And so we're looking here, of course, and you saw the short of me trimming these back. And there's still some worn spots in here that need to be trimmed. Like those leaves look pretty weathered. That really should be trimmed off. But look, there was new growth underneath there, just aching to get out. I should have cut it just right above there. I can see itty bitty, teeny weeny little leaves down. Isn't that the coolest thing? Look at those mums just aching to grow. I just think that's, let me see if I can get that in focus better. But yeah, I just think that is the coolest thing. How these things really just want to grow. They really do. So that's the mums. They're going to be coming out here soon. We will be moving these soon because something else is going in this place. Mrs. Bowtie is a little excited about what's going in here. If you know what's coming here, tell us in the comments. Tell the other people watching in the comments below. Right here by the front door, we have a new thing coming. But hedges still looking great. Note to self, it is February 8th. It's coming close to trimming. I will show you though if I can find one. There's one right in here somewhere. There is an ivy growing. I don't see it. Well, these plants actually obviously survived the cold very well. I will go back and try to remember what these are exactly. They will start putting out their flowers here pretty soon. In fact, if you look down in here, they have little tiny leaves growing and getting ready to pop out and give us flowers here within the next few months. Doggone it. I'm putting it on the bottom of the screen here, obviously. I cannot remember which ones are which. But let's look at some of these failures, or supposed failures. We are looking at the fig tree over here, one of my first figs that I put in, and this thing is strong. It's got all kinds of little green buds on the outside here. These things are ready to go, ready to rock for the new season. I get the feeling that these things are already starting to shoot out. It is, since we're getting so much warm, you know, I need to get these things trimmed. I was just looking at one of the other YouTubers, the Millennial Gardener. He does a lot of figs, and he trimmed hundreds of figs in just the time of shooting that video. It is so challenging just to get motivated to come out here and face my fears and say, okay, we're going to whack that branch off right there because it is kind of in the way. And yeah, that's a little fearful for me. But, you know, one of the big mistakes that I hear all the time is, and folks, I'm the kind of person, if I can create less work for myself, I'm more likely to do it. That's just all there is to it. I just need to create less work for myself. And this is a yarrow. This yarrow is going to make some beautiful flowers. You can see here, it made us some beautiful flowers last year. It's even bigger now, even thicker. In fact, I told someone, Chicago Garden, I told her the other day, I said, oh, you're going to love the yarrow. She does a lot of dried arrangements and flower gardening. And look how thick that is down inside there. It is just thick. You can barely stick your fingers in there. There's things living in there, lizards and so forth. This thing is cold hardy, people. Big thing for me, if I felt like I had to come out here and cover this yarrow, it's just something else that I would do. This did not get touched. This didn't get even begun to get touched when I started protecting my plants for winter. This thing stood the test of the snow and looks just fine. Yarrow is such a wonderful plant. Even this artichoke right here next to it, so wonderful that they can survive a big snow, 5.5-inch snow. In fact, it was a little deeper over on this end of the property because of the wind and the drift, but they look just fine. They came through just fine, people. And that's the first mistake, is thinking you've got to protect everything. And folks, you don't have to protect everything. For instance, there's this thyme right here. This thyme, we got it covered in this kind of chicken wire cloche just to keep these big, massive American sycamore leaves off of it so it can thrive a little better. And so far it's done so good. It's keeping the big leaves off there. That's all I'm concerned about. Every once in a while I will take the cloche off and pull out those dollarweed leaves just to make sure it can get the ground, but I'm hoping this year we can encourage this thing to grow a little better. Another thing that it's a mistake to protect is, what's this? This is the sunchokes. Yeah, sunchokes, folks. Now, 90% of you say, wait a minute, they're dead. They got totally destroyed by the cold. And you know what? What's above ground, yes, it did get totally destroyed by the cold. But if you remember, going back to those videos that we did, is that 2 years ago already? We harvested these, we cooked them with cousin Bowtie Mark, a friend of mine, and that's a rock. We have in here the tubers, which are number one, just fine. And of course, where I'm digging, I'm not finding any. Wouldn't you know it? I am trying to find a single, oh, there's one right there. A single good tuber. Now folks, I explain this every month. I pull one of these out. This is a sunchoke, also known as a Jerusalem artichoke. That is a misnomer. Personally, I like the name sunchoke, or even better, sunroot. This is native to the Americas. This is a wonderful potato-like root that you can treat exactly like a potato. Now, before someone starts screaming out, no, it's a fartichoke. Okay, if you eat this thing raw, in any significant quantity, probably like 2 of these, if you eat it raw, now, it has a wonderful taste. It does. It does create a little bit of gastrointestinal distress. Yes, it makes you fart. Okay, I said it. But as soon as you ferment or cook this thing, that feature, the stuff that creates that problem, is gone, folks. It's gone. And so you have a wonderful replacement for potatoes. Now, why would you choose this over potatoes? First and foremost, I'm diabetic. A person who is a diabetic and eats potatoes knows that when they eat potatoes, their blood sugar will spike. Not with this. This doesn't have the same kind of starch. It has a different thing in it called inulin that does not cause the blood sugar to spike. And it tastes, folks, I'm not just saying it tastes exactly like, it does. It tastes exactly like potatoes when you roast them, fry them, cook them up, ferment them, whatever. These are great. They have that ever so slightly nutty taste that, oh, we just love. So all 3 of these pots here are in ground, mostly in ground, and they are full of artichokes. So we come out and harvest them when we want them. Yeah, folks, these stay in the ground all the time. We never pull them out until we need some. And look, think about that. Winter, perfect protection. Just leave them in the ground. They will do just fine. Yes, they've died. They had wonderful yellow flowers just last month. Was it last month? Or I think it was December. These were beautiful little flowers, and the bees were enjoying them. The birds were enjoying them. The birds are enjoying them now because there's a lot of seed in there, and they pick at them. I see the little tiny songbirds up in here picking at those all the time. I do want to mention just briefly the Amaryllis over there. The leaves are all gone and it will start shooting out anew. I do need to clear off some of the weeds over that Amaryllis bulb, because here very soon these things will start flowering again. Looky there. That's right. You know, that's a grass. I see it down there. Look at that bulb. That's actually a pup bulb. The main bulb is somewhere else, but look at, there's new leaves in there, just aching to get out of the ground. That just excites me. Seeing just year after year, these things just want to show their beauty. Wonderful, wonderful plants. I love the Amaryllis. First major color in the garden for us. So seriously, folks, when it comes down to plants that just don't need protection, here's the other Yarrow. There's even a little tiny Yarrow coming up way over here. Look at that. This thing is starting to come out and get strong again. I am very anxious to see this, see what this does this year. I want to know if it'll come back this year. It kind of got a little neglected and covered over, and I may need to give it a little TLC. But onions, these Egyptian walking onions over here, they don't need protection. Onions are great for winter. They take the snow, they shed it off, they're good to go. Especially for down here in the south when we get our feet upon feet of snow. Oh Lord, we don't get that much snow. I'm so thankful. A little worried about Flower Hill Farm up there in Boonville, New York. That is just 8 feet and feet. I think they're probably up to like 10 feet of snow for the season at the moment. And oh, there's 2 more flags, orange flags. There's turmeric buried under there, and I cannot wait to see one of these pop up. Now our soil is still a little cool, so they will come up when they're ready. God made them to know when they will be ready. You know what? I just noticed something over here. I want to divert back to this yarrow. I did not plant a yarrow here. Is that possible? And maybe that one is new? Is that possible? Okay, no need to answer. I know it is. These yarrow flowers, they create seeds. I drop the seeds frequently. Interesting. I know I didn't plant one way up here, though. This is totally new plant. Okay, so yeah, can't wait to see what happens there. And of course, we talked about the first failure is creating work for yourself. And, you know, just doing stuff you really don't need to do. Oh, you know what? Before we talk about these 2 illustrations, let's go look at one other plant that really doesn't need protection. Of course, we're over here at our asparagus bed. One day, we're going to have asparagus growing in here. But yeah, this thing needs to be cut off to the ground. It just gets cut off. It's done what it's supposed to, and I am beginning to think that this might be a male plant. I really wish someone would tell me that knows about the asparagus. Anyway, looking down here at a strawberry plant, people. This strawberry plant went under snow. Look at this, and it is still looking just absolutely beautiful. Green is shooting out new growth. It's already got a new flower. This is a failed flower. I have a feeling that this may have been a flower that went through the snow and completely got destroyed. That, I believe, is an actual petal from that flower. I don't know if that's actually going to develop, but it's already got new flowers coming. Oh, there's another flower right there getting ready to pop out. So strawberries, in our environment here in Florida, they just don't need protection, people. It's creating work just for the sake of creating work, and my brain can't deal with that. The first mistake, obviously, is just creating too much work and protecting the plants that just don't need protection. And there's a lot of them out there, people, that can take care of themselves, that can replant themselves, that will regrow and be wonderful. Now, this is a Brugmansia, angel trumpet. This is a Brugmansia sanguinea, which it kind of has a reddish, pinkish hue to the flowers. The one that I got the cutting from, actually it was red. This one this year, brand new, it was pink. I think it just may not have matured enough yet. This is its first year. This marks the end of its first year in the garden. And you can see it in some of the garden tours and other videos that I've done over the past year. It's a beautiful flower. It's a very beautiful flower. It is poisonous, so bear that in mind if you get one of these. But this is something that I saw here recently, and if you've ever done this, if you've ever seen a neighbor do this, tell me. I'd like to hear, because I saw a little bit more of this, and at the same time tell me, well, what's wrong with this? And basically, the method over there, that's what I used, and this is what I've seen around. And so what's wrong with this? And tell me in the comments below. But let's see if this plant looks okay. We cover this up in the hopes of keeping some of the cold off. We did trim it down some, but you will see, no, it really didn't do much at all. Now the problem here is, and hopefully you had a moment to comment below, is that this bag was not sealed to the ground like that trash can. It's why I used the trash can, because the ground actually can offer a little bit of heat up to the plant. Obviously I had a failure here. This was not the way to do it, and I've watched Millennial Gardener do his protection of his fig trees and citrus trees, and he puts the incandescent lights under there. And I'm going to have to take a little bit of extra resource this year and come up with some incandescent lighting that I can heat these things with in the cold. I think it might have done okay had I provided a little bit of heat, but frankly it got cold. I had actually covered both of these with the same kind of trash can, and I screwed it up, people. It's my ADD brain. I know it was out here. I had the can sitting right here. You saw it in the video, the last front and side garden tour. I forgot to put it out one night and it froze. So I went ahead and hurried and got it out there in the hopes that it might save it, but it obviously did not. This is slimy down to here, and it's all gonna be dead here pretty soon. Now, this Brugmansia, like a lot of plants, like those sunchokes behind the camera right now, I can cut those off down here close to the ground and they're gonna grow again next year. That one over there has grown for 3 years now. This one is going to start growing for its second year now. As soon as the weather really starts changing, the soil starts getting warmer. And when it's ready, it will become a new plant again. And I'm very excited about that. And so here we are at the other Brugmansia. This is a Brugmansia solanaceae, and it is a yellow flower. And I think these are such beautiful flowers. It's a shame that they're so poisonous. They are, they give nausea, they give dementia and confusion, and they also give death. So be careful about planting these in your garden, please, okay? But this is the way I protected them. Again, I forgot one night. I don't think it was too terrible. I finally got the cover on it. I had it covered during the snow. The problem is our cold weather lasted 36 hours and there was no heat under there. The heat from the ground simply was not enough. And so, as you can see, there's nothing but disappointment in this plant. Same exact thing. It's all slimy down to here, and I can tell it's going to need to be cut back down to the ground. This thing will start to grow again, though. In fact, you can see here, this little cutoff right here was what I cut off winter before a year ago. And there were two there. There's also, you cannot see them, but there's other places that this has been cut off even lower from the year before that. So this is going to be its third year to be cut off, and we will see it grow back again. I have all confidence that it will be good again. So obviously, and I was hoping the trash can would be enough. Obviously, it was not. It was not enough, folks, and I needed to have a heat source under there. I know, I've listened to videos, I've watched other people do it, and they say do it with a light or some kind of heat source in there, and I did not do it, and this thing just didn't survive that cold. So, the lesson I've learned is the heat source. And that bag around the lollipop thing, that's just not going to work anyway because it's not that great. You're going to lose the trunk, and you really want to protect this area of the plant down here. That's kind of like the core, the heart of the plant. And if you can keep that alive for these perennials, you can continue to grow these plants. And so the Brugmansia will live to grow another day. Those orange flags, it's very exciting. My wandering Jew actually looks very nice. There's new leaves growing in there. It's very sturdy. It's given up a few of its old leaves. And over here, this ground orchid, Chinese ground orchid, you'll notice, I believe this is it coming again as well, which is very cool. So I'm looking forward. Oh my goodness, right in my hand, there were two more. Look at there. Chinese ground orchid. That is awesome. Cannot wait to see these flowers grow for the first time in my garden. They are a beautiful flower. I can't even remember what color they are. I believe they are yellow though. And we come back to our back pollinator bed here, and looky here, we got those orange flags, that turmeric growing, and I'm very excited. Jim, very smart man, you got it. But anyway, the Thai plants have seen their last. I wanted to show them in this state so you can see what they look like. They're all brown. I will be able to cut these now, and I will, again, just like the Brugmansia, I'll be cutting these down just a couple of inches above the ground. They will grow again, people. They will grow again. And all our Biden's alba down here, I actually saw some small, I don't know, I thought it might have been chickadees or something, eating the seeds off of these the other day. I was very excited. I did not get video. I did get video of our herd of robins that are flying around right now. There's like, on our 4 blocks of neighborhood, there's like hundreds of robins that have descended in our part of town. It's very cool. And so the Amaryllis, you can see the old yellow leaves of the Amaryllis there, as well as the yellow leaves over here that are going to start shooting out new leaves. We're going to get this all cleaned up. This will be the last time you see the garden like this. In fact, by the time we do this garden tour again in March, we should already have new growth covering and new seeds in the ground, and things should start being beautiful again. Hope again. And so we come around to the final mistake that's made, and I had a little bit of a laughable time, folks, and I didn't know any better when I was a gardener, so it was on me, but someone wanted to cover their tomato plants. And this tomato plant right here, this German pink, it is gone. Remember that one last tomato? I'm still waiting for a bird to come up here and start nibbling on it, and nothing has happened yet, but it's all shrivelly. There's juice in there, but obviously the birds have places to get other stuff. Folks, if it's an annual, that means it lives 1 year. Don't worry about protecting it. It's not going to survive. That's all. Now, surprisingly, things like hot peppers are not annuals. We think of them as annuals, but you can see here, 23 of my hot pepper plants are all surviving just fine. They are overwintered in these pots. We brought them in from the backyard, and we'll be planting them again. Look at all the leaves that are growing on these things, though. Isn't this just exciting? I am just thrilled that these will be once again growing in the garden. Hopefully every one of them. We'll see if we get a 100% success rate this year. I'd be amazed if we did. I was shocked we had a 100% success rate last year on the 9 that I overwintered. So I did come in here and finally harvested all the beans on these Thai yard-long beans. It's so funny. I was listening to Tony over at Simplify Gardening just preaching on about saving seeds, and I wasn't sure I was going to grow these again, but it was funny because he got me so fired up. I paused the video and came out and harvested all those seeds. You can see here I got a bag of Thai yard-long beans ready to go, our seeds ready to get planted for next year. Very excited about that. And of course we're looking at our dino kale. This is kind of an exciting plant for me. I'm just very happy to have it here again. This is a this is a survivor, people. It will last through the snow. We have a lot of very excited birds just to my left, just right over there in those bushes. But this thing will last through the snow. As you can see, it is still as firm as ever, and it's still growing. This is a biennial plant, which means it grows 2 years. Again, very tough. Snow didn't even phase it. You notice there's not any damage on here from the cold, period. It is still just as good. And here's the cool thing. The snow will actually make it taste even sweeter. It is amazing. I just can't get over that. Now, this is its 2nd year. It's entering into its 2nd year. And pretty soon here, next few months, it's actually going to start bolting seeds. At that point, it will be changing the flavor again. Not be quite as good, and it will be done. But I'm going to eat as much of these as I can until that happens, because this plant is delicious. If you don't like kale, you need to try this one. Grow yourself some. You can grow it in a pot, people. It's awesome. A real quick tree checkup. the American sycamore. The little balls are falling off. They fall off all around me. You might have heard little pops every once in a while. These things land on the ground in the leaves and go pop. And they just sitting everywhere. And the crepe myrtles, the birds have been getting into these seed pods, and there's even fewer of these than there were last month. They pick through these a lot. And then of course the evergreen and the date palm, which hasn't started growing new fronds yet, new clusters of dates. So that'll probably not happen for another month. Another amazing plant for the winter is a rosemary, and we already covered one of them. We're going to be trimming this one up as well and getting a lot of new plants out here pretty soon, so that I'll have stuff to give away. But also I want to plant a bunch more of these in the garden because they help control mosquitoes and a few other pests. But we're going to be working on that. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos. Another great plant for controlling pests in the garden. And I'm not talking mosquitoes, folks. I'm talking rats and squirrels. Is this right here. Now, I really let my mint population dwindle this year, and I should not have. But we've looked at this for a couple months now, and I'm really excited to show you this because it looks pretty haggard. It looks like it's just ready to give up the ghost. But I want to take you in a little closer here and show you what's underneath all this dead stuff. And look, there's new mint growing there. This whole cluster of mint right there. There's new mint growing right there. Oh, I can smell it. There's new mint growing over here. The weather has started to change. There's new mint growing here, here. All this can be chopped up. I'm looking at another 12 pots of plants right here alone, not counting the other pots that I have in the property. This is just very exciting, of course. This is, of course, the chocolate mint, and I will be re-adding the peppermint to the backyard. I'm going to kind of try to keep it organized with chocolate mint in the front, peppermint in the back. But these little mint plants are just ready to explode. If I come in here nice and close, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. You can see how rich these leaves look. They are just ready to go, ready to oh, look, there's just all over the place. They're just growing everywhere. So we'll be cleaning this up. Be sure to subscribe, of course. Tell me what kind of plants you're growing for pest control if you are. This thing here, I tell you what, this thing here helps with the rats, helps with the mice, with the mice as well, the squirrels, kind of helps them keep out of the garden. And now, of course, we're getting around to the section of the garden. This is the side yard where not only do these plants survive the cold, they need the cold. And we have two collections of plants here that absolutely need to have some cold period. They need to go down. Apple trees are like that. They have to get cold for them to start producing apples. Otherwise, they won't produce apples. This right here, of course, is our grapevine, and we are getting ready to record a video on trimming these grapevines again. And special thanks to Scott Head, who visited with me on trimming these things. I had a couple of questions for him. We're going to be doing something new with this. You might have seen our previous video on trimming these, but this little arch trellis, it is 100 inches deep. Each of these cattle panels are like 50 inches tall when they're on their side, but it's 100 inches deep. Plus you have another, I don't know, 18-inch trellis on the front here as an entryway. So you basically have 10 feet of trellis here, and that is nowhere near enough space for, I don't know, half a dozen plants. I forget how many we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants, something like that. There's a bunch of plants in here. I originally planted 9. I think some of them have given up the ghost. But we're going to come in here and we are going to give this a haircut and get it ready for the next year. I did this last year and I'm going to do a better job this next year. So be sure to stay tuned for trimming the grapes. I'm very excited about that. And then of course we come back through here. I'm actually very interested to see if this citronella here will come back. It had a citronella plant in here, right here, and another one down in there, and I don't know that they're going to survive this year. They have been nice enough to come back once, but if I can get these things to come back again, I am going to make a better job of propagating these things. Otherwise, I might actually just go and buy a new one. We'll have to see what happens. I've got to do better on these, people. Get a little better every year, right? Just keep getting better. Don't get discouraged. But yeah, oh, and there's another mint right there. It is, I call it my mountain mint. It's probably a spearmint. Helps keeps the rats at bay. I really believe in my mint plants. And 2 years ago, I actually had 13 pots and grow bags of mint all around, and they definitely made a dent on my rats. The first year in this garden, I actually trapped dozens of rats in the garden. The second year, I upped my mint game, and we only trapped maybe half a dozen rats that second year. And I actually saw squirrels not want to go near them, so kind of kept them at bay as well. So, what are these? These are, of course, the blueberries, and I'm very excited because these things are just starting to swell. I showed you this in the last month's tour. These little balls on the end of the branches here, those will be buds, those will be leaves, they will be new plant coming out here very soon. Oh, there's still a few vines in here that I haven't cleared out. And you know what? I never did trim out any of the old dead wood in here that needs to come out. I will be coming in here as soon as the leaves start coming out and cutting whatever doesn't produce leaves. There's some old, more woody branches down there that need to be cleaned up. And that's kind of the normal thing with blueberries. And so this, very soon, by next month, we're going to see a lot of green here. Hopefully, we'll even be able to see some buds in here, and the bees will be in here, and we'll be looking at spring square in the face when we start this again. And so, of course, the fourth and final mistake would be to try to cover grapevines and blueberries and protect them from the cold when they actually need the cold. So we've got to be careful about how we're doing this. I made my one mistake over here. I did cover those with the plastic buckets. I failed to get it in time. I did not provide a heat source. I believe very strongly that if I had provided that heat source, I probably could have done a lot better. I know that the dead citrus plants over here, if I had provided them with a heat source and cover at Christmas of 2022, they would probably still be alive as well. And I didn't know back then what I know now. And when we do get new citrus, there will be a new regime on this property to keep these things in better health. So if you have, and this is why it's so important to understand your plants, like the grapevines, like the fruit trees, like the blueberries behind me. They have to have that cold period, and if they don't, it can alter their production cycle, and we don't want to do that. We want to get the most out of them that we can. So learning experiences are good, and just moving right along with what we can. It's awesome. Anything can be good if you just move forward with it and get better every time. I will get better. I've tried protecting things in the cold. I've actually been successful, but apparently it wasn't as cold as this year or in 2022 when things really took a dive for the worst. But I hope you enjoyed this, a little bit of coverage of the front and side garden and where everything is at right now. This should be the last time we see what appears to be a dead garden. We do have a lot of new videos coming out here in the next month or two. We will be planting seeds out pretty soon. I'm very excited to get some of those seeds in the ground and start having new things growing that we can look forward to for the new year. And really, isn't that what it's all about? Just looking forward to the new year. We look at what we had this past year in the garden, all these beautiful sunchokes. Here's another one from the year before. Those brown dead flowers that are sitting up there are gonna look great again. We're going to have grapes again. I'm very excited about that. We're gonna be growing our loofah again this year. It's gonna be amazing. All that was ripped out because it kind of ate the world, didn't it? But the amazing thing is, behind me, these blueberries are gonna look amazing. We're gonna have an amazing crop in there, and we'll be picking blueberries before we know it. And so we learn, we move forward, we figure things out, and we do it again. And here we go with the next year, right? So share below what your experiences was this past year or in the past that you really learned from as far as taking care of your plants in the winter, in the cold? I know some of you have a lot colder than we have, and you have even more measures you have to take. You sometimes have to pick the different kind of plants. Tell me what kind of plants you have to change from what I might pick in your garden because of your extreme weather. I find it fascinating just to see the differences not only around the country but around the world in everyone's gardens and the different things they do. Things that are cold hardy or heat tolerant or whatever our current environment is. And that's a key thing about learning the plants and knowing what will survive in your garden, and maybe not knowing, maybe just experimenting to see what will survive. And so in the next part, of course, this is part 1 of 3. Next two parts, we're going to be heading out there to the backyard, and we have the outer beds out there that we'll be taking a quick look at. Maybe another short one. Remember the last outer garden bed tour was the snowstorm. The raised beds are looking great. We're excited about what's going in there, and we'll be, hopefully, by the time we do the raised garden bed tour, we will be looking at solving that problem that we discussed in that last raised garden bed tour for January. Go back and watch that video if you haven't. There's a link in the description, in the index and timestamps area of the description. So appreciate you coming along. Subscribe so you don't miss the other things that are coming up that are all associated with this, so you can come back and catch the rest of it and always learn. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed because you have really helped grow Bowtie Life to what it is today. You're my heroes, and I truly appreciate everyone being here and watching these videos. I hope you're looking forward to a green spring, green new year, and hope everything grows great in your garden. Y'all have a blessed day.